YouTubers, we're going to take a little bit of a break from my little Assassin's Creed rant that I've been going on for the past few videos, and we're going to go ahead and cover another game, this time for one of the newer consoles. I'm covering Infamous Second Son for the PS4. This game, just as a heads up, as I'm talking about this game, I am going to be giving a few spoilers from Infamous 1 and 2. So if you have not played them for the PS3, I recommend you stop watching now. Go ahead and go back, play them, come back, and watch the video then. So anyway, Infamous Second Son. If you have played Infamous 1 and 2, you'll know that the story of Infamous focuses around making your own choices. You are normally a super-powered individual known as a conduit in the game. In the first two, you are a character called Cole McGrath, who he's taking a package explodes, he gets super powers like lightning and crap like that. He can drain electricity, zap the fuck out of people. It's pretty wicked. The biggest draw for this game in the PS3 was that you could make your own decisions throughout the game. You could choose to take the path of the hero, where you would go and save humanity. You would do the right thing almost all the time. You would save civilians who are being under attack, kill drug dealers, stuff like that, and all around be a good guy. Or you could take the path of being infamous, which basically means you walk around, you beat the daylights out of innocent people, you think only for yourself, and you're just an outright dick to everybody. Now, in Infamous 1 and 2, your appearance would change, your abilities would change, and the story would change accordingly to the decisions that you make. For those of you who played and beat Infamous 2 on hero mode, the abilities that you would gain at the end of the game is that you would choose between killing yourself along with every other conduit to stop this disease from spreading, or you would go and join the Beast, which is this big super being badass who's like destroying the world and shit for conduits. If you chose the hero side, that's, in my opinion, the correct side, because if you follow the bad guy side, it's Infamous Second Son doesn't even make any sense. So, Infamous Second Son, you pick up a few years after the events of Infamous 2. You're no longer Cole McGrath, obviously, because you're dead if you follow the good guy version. In this one, you're a new character. His name is Delsin Rowe. He's a tagger, vandalizer, going around spray painting shit on billboards and shit like that, and he has a brother who's a cop, so go figure there. Anyway, this game follows the normal rules of the other Infamous games. You know, you have your good path and your bad path, and the story will change accordingly. The ending will be different if you choose bad guy or good guy. So it does kind of follow that same rule. You're not lightning this time. You control the powers of smoke and other powers as well, because it seems that Delsin is a power sponge of some kind. He's able to absorb other conduits' powers by grabbing their hand, which I believe is one of the coolest things they've introduced, because, you know, normally you just have the power of lightning, you run around, and, you know, it's cool, but after a while you're like, man, you see all these guys with these cool powers and you can't do none of them. And it sucks. Like, seriously, Infamous 2, Nyx's power, the power to control the fire and the oil and shit, that would have been badass. I mean, granted, you get stuff that's kind of like that when you transfer the powers and whatnot, if you choose the bad guy side, but I always wish that I could just have both sides of the coin. Anyway, onward to the storyline. You know, you start out as Delsin Rowe. You have no powers whatsoever. You're spray painting a billboard, and needless to say, you come into contact with this crashed truck that has a conduit that's trapped underneath of it. You save him, and you end up getting his powers, because you get somehow, not going to spoil it, but somehow you end up grabbing his hand, and then you get his powers. Throughout the game, you're trying to track down this woman named Augustine, who has the power of concrete. She comes to your town, and whenever she finds out you're a conduit, she tortures all of your, you know, family members and your everything. So you go, and you're aiming to get her to come back and remove the concrete shards that are embedded in everybody's legs. So that's pretty much the storyline. You're going to Seattle, Washington to find Augustine and get her power so you can help your fellow members of your tribe, because you're Native American, apparently. So that's basically how the storyline goes. You go to Seattle, it's still the same thing in the basic gameplay. You go in there, you have your enemies all spread out all over the place. If they see you, actually, in this one, if they see you, they don't attack on sight most of the time unless you show that you have powers. If you're just walking by normally, you tend to not get attacked unless you get spotted by like a camera or something. But the moment you show any sign of hostility or using a power or anything, the enemies will attack you. So there's that. Again, as if you've played Infamous 1 and 2, you do go and liberate certain districts throughout the game by doing these little side missions. Like you'll go and you'll spray paint cool things on walls, you'll take out surveillance cameras, you'll blow up the big DUP hub that makes it to where there's blast shards that just explode everywhere. In my opinion, this game was a lot easier than the other two, which really disappointed me. The main storyline, honestly, if you don't worry about the side missions and you don't worry about any of that, the main storyline is very short. The game itself in a main story is super, super short. It's like you don't get very many missions in the main thing. So if you're not focusing on all the side stuff, you'll beat this game in, I'd say, 4 hours tops. Not even. If you just sit there and grind through it, it's super easy. As you progress through it, one of my biggest draws to this is that you get multiple powers, and you can change from smoke to neon to video, which I think that's really cool. You're able to control demons or angels, depending on what side you pick, and go invisible, which I thought was amazing. The neon ability of super speed I thought was really cool. Throughout the game, though, I found more entertainment in just running around doing the side missions than I did the main storyline. That was the most time-consuming thing for me. I mean, unlike in most other games, they show you where every single blast shard is, which, the other games, you did that, but you had to do your little, pulsing thing. Your head would pulse or whatever the hell it was, and you'd sense them, In this one, they just show you where it's at, which makes getting all the blast shards extremely, extremely easy. I mean, I've almost gotten 100% every single solitary trophy on this game. I mean, even extreme mode's not that difficult. So, I mean, this game is very simplified and very, very easy, and it really was disappointing for me in that fact. I wish it would have been a little harder. I mean, it took no problems at all playing this game. I mean, the final boss, Augustine, was one of the most disappointing fights ever. It was so easy. I one-shot the enemy and didn't even break a sweat doing it. It's very disappointing in that fact. But I mean, all overall rating, though, I will tell you right now, graphics, think the graphics are awesome. For a very beginning PS4 game, coming out on the launch, it's not a bad move for Sucker Punch to launch out Infamous Second Son. There were the loyal fans like me who loved Infamous 1 and 2. I picked it up immediately. It was my first game for the PS4, and I'm not going to say I regret it, because it was a good game. It is a good time sink. The graphics are great. The gameplay is pretty good. I like the gameplay. All in all, I'd give this game a 4 out of 5 just because of the simplicity of it. It was just so easy. There's no difficulty in this game whatsoever. So that is my personal problem with this game, is the difficulty. It's just too easy. Even on hard, too easy. So, I mean, if you're looking for a fun game to just breeze through, screw around, and just fuck everything up and just be a complete and utter badass, then this would be the game for you. But if you want a challenge, I'd recommend skipping over this game. if you're not like a huge fan, or if it's your first one going into the series, it doesn't measure up to the other two, in my opinion. But it is a good game if you're a big fan of the series and you like having games that are really easy, that you can just run around and just wreck shit on, then this is the game for you. So, all in all, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. As always, if you like my videos, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. Another thing that I want to go ahead and point out is that I am looking for somebody to email me a channel art for my channel. I'm terrible at that kind of stuff, just gonna say. If anybody has anything like that, feel free to email me in the email address down below, your ideas and your channel art ideas. I'm gonna post another video after this asking about the same thing, in case nobody wants to hear me ramble for this entire time. But all in all, thanks for watching. Clicky that like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you around here next time.